everyone, and welcome to the Her Hoop Stats podcast. Today is Monday, July 7th, and I hope you all had a great long weekend. It wasn't a long weekend here, that was last week for us, but I mean, hope that you are all enjoying some long weekend action. I'm here. My name is Chelsea Leite. I'm here with Cindy Brunson here today on the Her Hoop Stats podcast. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. We're here on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and then on social media on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and of course on herhoopstats.com. Cindy, how was your long weekend?
It was good. It was
Yeah.
relatively uneventful, which is good. I've got the dog,
Yes.
Jon Snow, so 4th of July always makes us very skittish as a
Yeah.
family because Jon Snow just not like the booms and the crackle and all of that, but relatively quiet. And it didn't carry over to the weekend. That was my big concern. Like, okay, it's
Yeah.
Friday. Are we going to have to deal with this on Saturday and Sunday? But no, it was just pretty much contained to the 4th of July. So that was good. I put that down as a win. And then the
Yeah.
WNBA action and the AmeriCup action all weekend long was amazing.
Yeah. There was so much basketball going on this weekend. I even got to go here in Toronto. We have a just kind of like minor women's basketball league called Hoop Queens.
Nice.
And it's
Great
a paid
name.
league. Yeah, it's a great name. It's a paid league for people here in Canada. Most of them are either NCAA graduates or U Sports graduates, which is the college league here in Canada. And they had their
Hmm.
championship game yesterday. So I got to go and check that out. Packed house at the University of Toronto. It was a great time. So,
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah, just got to see some local hoops as well as watch the AmeriCup and the WNBA, of course, on TV. But it's always nice when you get to go to something in person and just kind of experience the basketball community, which in Toronto
Mhm.
is just so special. And I was just kind of sitting there like, oh man, like next summer is going to be fun when we get to do this like every couple of weeks.
Yes, on the
Or,
regular. I'm so
yeah,
excited.
every
I've
couple of
already got
days.
my tickets for the Vancouver game. I
Yep.
haven't experienced a Canada game yet, so
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that, and the matchup has all the makings with the
Oh, yeah.
suddenly surging, figured it out Storm and
Yep.
the Atlanta Dream. I
Oh, that's
cannot
gonna be
wait.
good. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't exactly know how they've picked the teams every year. I feel like, the Seattle just kind of makes sense on the west coast of Canada because it's not far of a travel,
Right,
but,
the
uh
proximity.
yeah, but every year it's been a great matchup. I mean, the first time it was Chicago and Minnesota, and that was a
Mhm.
fantastic game. Last year was Seattle, and who went? Was it Seattle, maybe in Chicago again?
I wanna say so, yeah.
Yeah, and then this year we have Seattle coming back and Atlanta joining now, so that's gonna be
Mm.
really fun. I mean, getting to see, like, Alicia Gray in person, getting to see Skylar Diggins, Dominique Malonga, that'll be fun. So,
Ryan
um,
Howard,
yes, Brian
Bree
Howard,
Jones.
literally, yeah,
Yep.
Nneka Ogwumike, like, the
A
list
healthy
just
Jordan
goes.
Canada.
Yeah, Gabby
Yeah.
Williams, so many all-stars
Mhm.
as well that we're gonna get to see in
Yep.
Vancouver, so, I mean, we'll both be there, so it'll be, again, a fun little, just reminder that Canada is here, but also because Canada's such a big country, like, I'm excited to see the Vancouver community show up and see how it
Right.
differs from the Toronto community as well, so, I mean, that's, like, my hometown moment of the day. Cindy, you have news coming out of Phoenix, which the people would love to hear given that it has to do with the WNBA. So, I mean, what's going on in Phoenix this week?
Well, some exciting doings in the desert. Dewana Bonner has been in the state for a little more than a week. Of course, she is the fiance of superstar and all-star Alyssa Thomas of the Mercury and was seen out and about dining with Phoenix executives. So
Ye
I don't want to put too much speculation on this, but it was interesting that the team would take a meeting. And I think they did so because of all of the injury news surrounding the Mercury. Over the
Yep.
weekend, Satu Sabali was seen at the Diamondbacks game in a wheelchair, not a
Ye
boot, an entire wheelchair. The following day, she was seen at practice in a walking boot. So that ankle obviously is a concern. Uh, there's a hand situation with Alyssa Thomas, two fingers taped together. We're not quite sure what the situation is. So her health isn't 100%. And then the team released a statement about Kalia Copper having a hamstring issue after the minutes restriction seemed to go out the window against Dallas in a loss. So a lot of injuries that the Mercury are dealing with their core three superstars. So It'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see if Dewana is again welcome in Phoenix. She knows how to win championships here. And for me, if it makes the engine happy, if it makes Alyssa Thomas happy and puts her
Yeah.
in a good headspace,
Yeah.
sign Dewana Bonner. Period. Full stop.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, it's interesting given that this team is kind of built around you have these 3 big superstars and then they're kind of supporting cast of
Right.
people who haven't exactly been tested, in a full season of the W yet. You have a lot of rookies, a
Mhm.
lot of people who have come from overseas, and yeah, the injuries are concerning because then you kind of wonder, if all 3 of them are out, what's the veteran presence on the team look like? And so having
Right.
someone like DeWanna Bonner there who not only knows, is a veteran of this league, but also is a veteran who knows about Phoenix and the city and the fans and
Mhm.
knows how to get people kind of excited about that. So, I mean,
And
no
Chelsea, I
news
tell you
yet.
what, that may
Yeah.
be the only hesitation that Phoenix has because
Mm,
it literally has divorced itself from what has happened in previous years. Diana
yeah.
Taurasi retired. They parted ways with Brittany Griner. They were really leaning into this whole new era
Yeah.
of Phoenix Mercury basketball. And to sign DeWanna Bonner kind of puts that to the side. And they
Yeah.
were so intentional about that I could for me, that could be the hiccup that craters this whole deal, because I
Yeah.
know Phoenix could use Dewana. I know she would instantly be a fan favorite again. They love her here in the desert,
Oh,
and
of
she
course.
brings all of the skills, right? A two-time WNBA champion. She knows how to win. She's the third all-time leading scorer in league history, and she can demonstrate and will use the opportunity, if afforded it, to prove there's nothing wrong with her game. All that
Yeah.
business of being called a quitter on the way out the door by some of the Indiana fan base, no, she will prove all of that wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, it would just be nice to see her on the court again, and
Right?
like you said, if
Oh,
it makes, your star happy, it probably also make her happy, and, I
yes.
I think it's just we've seen that when people are in an environment that they enjoy, they tend to play a little bit more free, so,
Mhm.
yeah, that would be enjoyable, but, yeah, no concrete news yet on that, but just
No.
happenings in the desert, and so yeah, I mean, that kind of leads us into the conversation about All-Star reserves, which were announced yesterday on Sunday. And,
Mhm.
obviously people have a lot of thoughts about that. I have a lot of thoughts. There's a lot of takes. I mean, players
Mhm.
themselves aren't quiet about sharing how they feel about whether or not them or their teammates got the nomination, but the reserves are chosen by the coaches, and so there's no vote, there's no anything. It's just the coaches
Mhm.
that come and decide on the reserves. And so you have the starters who were announced last week. They are 50% fan vote, 25% media vote, and 25% player vote. They like make a
Mhm.
ballot themselves, and then the reserves come in chosen by the coaches. And so, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good. I mean, you have people like, Sonia Citron and Kiki Iriafen who are
Mhm.
rookies, and it's always fun to see rookies get the nod. You have someone like Kayla Thornton who gets her first All-Star nod on the
Yep.
Golden State Valkyries, which is also their first like franchise All-Star, which is really fun. Um, and then Gabby Williams, another like, first timer. Um, and so yeah, there's a lot of good, but also obviously always people are going to have opinions about it. So I'm curious, you see this list for the first time, Cindy, and like, what are your first thoughts?
My first thought was congratulations to everybody on the list. It's a
Yeah.
special notification to receive. There's contractual money attached to that
Hmm.
nod. So, yay to all the players. The first 12 announced and the second dozen.
Hmm.
But from the Washington Mystics, I was stunned that Brittany Sykes' name was not the first reserve listed. Um, Kudos to the way the rookies have been balling out, but they have their entire careers in front of them.
Yeah.
And did 2025 need to be the season that both get nods? And because it's a very guard heavy deal, I can see why. All right, let's bring in Kiki because we need more post players.
Yeah.
But Sonia is going to be there a lot down the
Yeah.
road
Yeah.
and not see Sykes there. And then personally for me, I thought Natasha Cloud had done enough to make the cut and be deserving to get her first All-Star nod. and
Yeah.
that didn't happen. So I'm not gonna lie, I was in my feelings about that. And then just statistically, Bree Jones, what she's been able to do for Atlanta,
Yeah.
just anchoring she is the chairman of the boards for them, man,
Yeah.
and she gets it done night in and night out, has been so steady. And I think she's a big part of the reason why they can drive and kick and do what they want to do, because she is the last line of defense, protecting the rim, controlling the glass, and then making the shots when she's called upon to do so. So,
Yeah.
yeah, those three names really jumped off the table to me.
Yeah, another one that jumped off to me as someone who maybe could have got the nod and didn't was Azurá Stevens on,
Mm,
the Los Angeles Sparks. I mean,
yes,
she's up there in terms of, like, two-point field goal percentage, in terms of, like, league-wide stats. I know,
career
um
highs in every
career highs.
category for her.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
herself, yeah, like,
yep,
when you compare her to the league, she's doing great. Of course, like, on her hoop stats, they have the, percentages, like, the percentiles of
yeah,
all the player stats with, so it compares them to the other players in the league, but then you can also
mhm.
just look down and see that she's, by a long shot, she's, averaging career highs. I mean, this season, 14.8 points per game. Before that, her highest was 11.5 in 2020, which was the bubble season, which less
Yeah,
games, obviously. And so if you don't count the bubble season, then you have 10.8 points per game in 2023. So to jump from that to 14.8 points a game is wild. I mean, maybe like 3 more minutes per game. So it's not like
yeah.
she's jumped in terms of how much she's playing. It's just she's just, doing so well. And so to see her not get the nod is definitely interesting. And I mean, like I said, no matter who you put on this, there's going to be thoughts and there's going to be people. There's just not enough spots for the
And
amount
there's
of
no
talent.
wrong answer, right? To your
No,
point,
yeah.
there's just not enough spots.
Yeah. And it's hard because you're in this league where everybody's the best in the world and everybody is, everybody had a shot at a championship in college or has represented their country, or like they just have
Mhm.
so many accolades to themselves. And so to try and pick the like 20-ish best players in the
Yeah.
league is just hard. And so it's definitely a like you said, a great accomplishment for them, and it comes with money, of course. So you know, that's always a good thing, especially in a league where they're
Mhm.
not getting paid as much. But
Yeah.
yeah, regardless, people are going to have thoughts. And I mean, it's interesting because then you get into these debates. I mean, Jonquel Jones was one who kind of spoke out online and kind of said, like, oh, I'm disappointed I didn't get a shot. And people
Mm.
were kind of saying, oh, you were injured. You were injured. Other people were bringing up the thought that like both her and Caitlin Clark have played the same amount of games. I mean, fan vote versus coaches is different, and so
You
you can
can't
say
fool the
what
fans. You
it's
cannot fool the
true.
fans. Yep.
So yeah, it's just like interesting to think, and I'd be so curious one day to kind of sit down with a coach and kind of talk about how they decide these and like what their thought process is in
Mhm.
picking these players. And also I'd love to hear like how the players themselves make their ballots and what they prioritize, because they see it from such a different perspective. Like these are their
Mhm.
teammates and their competitors and they're playing against these people. But yeah, I agree with you. Natasha Cloud was one that I was like, oh, like I was hoping for that.
Yeah, I thought if there was any year, it would be this year. I just
Yeah.
after watching her hold it down in her 1 year in Phoenix,
Yes.
defending all 5 positions on the floor,
Yeah.
like yeoman's work on the defensive end, all while running the show, you
Yeah.
know, finishing near the top in assists per game. Like it just she deserved to be an all-star in my opinion last year. So the fact
Yeah.
that, she was with a higher profile team with the defending champion Liberty, and really did a lot of great work at the beginning of the season, in particular for that team, just to remind everybody, hey, Tosh is here, loud and clear. I was bummed for her.
Yeah, and I mean, another one that I was surprised was in the reserves and not a starter is Alyssa Thomas too, because I
Stunning,
mean,
stunning. That was my first post. I
yeah,
rarely engage in social media. I just kind of observe, and I'm telling you, that was, she leads the league in assists, and
literally.
she is nicknamed the engine for a reason. And she's a big part of the reason why, with a lot of rookies, granted, they're older and very experienced rookies in Phoenix
Yes.
internationally. Still, you need glue to bring that all together. You need a straw that
Mhm.
stirs the drink, and that is Alyssa Thomas. The great start that Phoenix has had up until these last couple of games has been in large part, even with her missing games, just her being there and guiding her backup, Akoa Makani, like that makes a huge difference and
Yeah.
is all-star caliber in my opinion. And I was stunned that she wasn't in the first dozen.
Yeah, and I think, like, the narrative around Alyssa Thomas for I remember, I think it was in 2023 where she was in that MVP conversation with Asia Wilson and Brianna Stewart, and that was a tough year because the 3 of them were playing so, so well. Like, I was like, I'm happy I don't have a vote. Don't give me a vote." Like, I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. Um, but I think the idea is that, like, she she just does everything, and so she has, like, such a packed stat line every night, and it's like, triple double queen as she's called because she gets,
Mhm.
high points in assists and high points in rebounds. And
Yeah.
I think because she doesn't have that flashy like 35, 30 whatever point game, and she can get there, but sometimes
Mhm.
she just does all the gritty stuff as opposed to just like doing the flashy stuff. And so
Yep.
that makes people maybe not pay attention as much. I mean, like the hoop heads like us who are looking in and being like, "Oh my gosh, like she's getting this many steals and this many and she's shooting with no shoulders and all of this stuff." And it's
Yep.
like,
All while
yeah,
defending the other team's best 4 or 5, right?
exactly. And
Like,
so that's the stuff we notice, but for people out there who maybe are just looking for the most entertaining or flashy thing, then maybe that's not what they're talking about. But again, then these accolades and these stuff are a lot of the time voted by media and by other players and coaches and
mhm,
stuff. And so you'd think like, maybe she'd get, and I mean, I she did get votes in that also in that MVP year, but I don't know,
right.
something about Alyssa Thomas and getting slept on sometimes, not getting the like accolades and the appreciation that she deserves as a player just is wild to me.
Yeah, I would look to the Mercury media team. Like, I think they have 9 people on their social media team.
Mm.
Every minute of every day should have been some sort of tweet or post or
Yeah,
what have you, a TikTok involving Alyssa Thomas and how much
true.
she impacts winning for the Phoenix Mercury.
Yeah,
Just to
that's true.
remind all of the fans, all of the voters, all of the media
Mhm.
members
Yep.
what she means to the game.
Yeah.
I look at that team and they do a great job, but when it comes to a campaign to
Yeah.
make your point known, the social channels can drive a lot of that conversation. And I just
Yeah.
felt like I didn't see enough from Phoenix in that
Y
department when it comes to AT, because that's something you could get to the rooftop and shout with your whole chest because she is amazing.
Yeah. I do find too, like, I'm not sure if you felt this too, but I feel like this season more than any, there's so much like there's so much action happening at the same time on these
Oh, these
nights.
games scheduled all at once. It's
And
exhausting.
it's
I have
exhausting
6 screens going, and I'm just like,
yeah.
"Wait, what?"
And you can't fully pay attention. Like, when I'm watching a basketball game, I want to watch a basketball game. I don't wanna be looking at 6 screens at the same time, but then you don't have
Mhm.
time to then, like, go back and be like, "Okay, let me rewatch the 6 games that happened at the same time." But then
Right.
there's other nights where there's nothing. So it's like, how do you like, why can't we just balance it a little bit more? And when we talk about more teams entering, I mean, we have 2 more teams coming into the league next year. More games are gonna happen,
Mhm.
of course, as the
Yep.
league inevitably grows, and we've seen things about how they want to extend the season. I know your thoughts that you wanted to shrink it more.
I
um
do. I'm so
yeah,
worried about players' health and safety. I'm not
exactly.
kidding. I would lay down in traffic on this point. The players need time to
Yeah,
recover,
yeah.
because they are the best in the world and they're going
Mhm.
up against the best in the world every
Yep.
single night. And if us fans who plunk down our money or tune in to watch and buy league pass, whatever it is, we
Yeah,
want to see those players. Look at
yeah,
all of the injuries that have just inundated the WNBA this season. Caitlin Clark has
exactly.
missed what, half the games? I mean,
More, yeah.
yeah, like, that's bananas. You
Mhm.
want your star players to be able to shine, and
Exactly.
and I look at Satu Sabali, 2nd
Yep.
highest usage rate in the WNBA, and
So
now
true.
she's in a boot. Like, that
Yeah. You also
we've
think,
gotta
like,
give these players the ability to not just play at the highest level, but rest and recover from playing at the highest level.
exactly, and I mean, you look at how much the New York Liberty have been affected by Jonquel Jones being out with that injury as well.
Decimated, decimated.
Yeah, just
That and
decimated, and
I would argue, Chelsea, they really missed Benijah Laney-Hamilton
Laney
as well,
Hamilton, yeah. Yep,
uh, because she was the one who would get in the huddle and start getting right nose to nose with people. "Do better,
yep,
be better, let's
yep,
go, we got this." I mean, you could just see it pouring out of every pore of her being on the sidelines, in the game, on the floor, whatever they needed. And I
mhm,
think Tosh kind of fills that void for them from the point guard spot. But there was just something about Lainey Hamilton that had that extra little verve that New York is clearly missing. And then JJ is the X factor, right?
yeah,
She creates just these defensive matchup nightmare scenarios that the Liberty currently constructed just don't pose without her
yeah.
on the floor. So that is a team that desperately wants JJ back. And that's why I thought the coaches decided we're not going to give JJ a nod because she's missed a lot of time injury and because Liberty themselves said, well, we are hoping she'll be back by August. Like
Yeah,
they've put such a long timeline on this ankle injury.
yeah.
I'm sure that if I were a coach, I would say, well, she's not going to be able to hoop in Indiana. I'm going to use one of these precious spots on somebody else who can play.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point too. And yeah, obviously they want her to be healthy at the best time, which is,
Hmm.
September, October.
Yep.
And so yeah, I get keeping her out, but it's rough. And like I said, and they were also missing Leonie Febish for a while for Eurobasket, and that was another thing. But having if you had Benaja Laney Hamilton, like those two were able to kind of fill that like 3-4 spot quite a lot.
Hmm.
And so having Benaja to like help while Phoebish was away would have been so huge for them. But yeah, you're seeing that as well. And I get that maybe they're scheduling these games all at once so that like everybody kind of has a day off in between. But like still, it's just getting to the point where like as viewers, like not to make it too much of a product, but as
Hmm.
viewers, we want to enjoy these games. And when you're trying to either look at all these screens or trying to find time to rewatch things that you want to rewatch or
Hmm.
pick and choose what you're going to watch that night. And I mean, viewership has a big, impact on everything. Like it has an impact on these CBA negotiations, it has an
Hmm.
impact on media. Like you want to make sure you're watching and supporting, but it's so hard when you literally will have, a Sunday where every game is at 6 p.m. or a
Yeah.
Tuesday where every game starts at 7 and, you know, it's just hard. Like I wish it was scheduled better so that teams could have, like you said, the adequate rest that they need, but also the
Hmm.
viewers can have like a better watch experience. And you're right,
Yeah.
having less games would do that because then you wouldn't have to squeeze them all in and make sure
Hmm.
that this team can then travel to that place or this, the schedule can work. Um and so yeah, having to add, I think we're really seeing the impact of adding, I think it was 4 games this
Yes.
season.
Yeah. We went from 40 to 44.
44. So even just those 4 games, we're seeing the impact of that because it's the same amount of time. They just
Yep.
added 4 more games into the same schedule. It's still ending, I think the last possible day for the playoffs is October 21st, if I'm just kind of pulling that from
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
head.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I mean, that's hard to think about. And a lot of these players then again go overseas or they go to Unrivaled or they go to
Mhm.
Athletes Unlimited.
Yep.
And the amount of time that they're having to just like have downtime is shrinking. And the amount of time they have to recover is shrinking in season and off season as well. So it's just, yeah, it's just too much. It's a lot for them. It's a lot for us. It's a lot for the people who cover the teams. It's a lot
Yeah.
for everyone.
And now that I'm going out to these arenas, I was,
Mhm.
out in Dallas, I watched the Fever and the
Yep.
Wings. Uh, Boy, Paige Beckers is worth the price of admission, let me just say that
Yeah.
out loud.
Yeah.
But as a fan who's consuming and buying tickets,
Yep.
listen, I don't know if I would be the season ticket holder that I've been in the past because of the rate increases. Um,
Mm.
and I get that the product is valued and has
Yeah,
value.
of
But I
course.
also think that's a consideration. If you're going to
Yeah.
ask me to pay more and then I get a diluted product,
Mm.
I don't know about that. I'm
True.
happy to pay for a 40 game season because I know what that looks like. I know how it performed, and I know that the Olympic break can easily be accommodated in that format.
Yeah.
Everything else for me, I think you're pushing the envelope and
Yeah,
the growth is so important at this juncture, and you just don't wanna get it wrong. And you don't
exactly.
wanna have a product that doesn't have its stars on the floor.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think next year's gonna be a very interesting year just given that there's a World Cup at the end of the year,
Mhm.
and if I'm hearing it correctly, they're going to push the World Cup, but not next year. So next
Correct.
year is still going to be in October, I think?
Yep.
So
Yep.
then they condense the season even more. I'm like, "You can't condense the season any more than it's already condensed." Like, I
Yes.
just don't understand how you do that and still have rest days, have the 44 games that you want, if not more. If they want to add more, you have two more teams playing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how does that even work? Like, do you
Mhm.
start the season earlier? Do
You
you
can't. You
You
gotta wait for the
can't.
kids to finish the college season,
That's so
right?
true. Yeah,
Then you
because
get a
they
week to have the draft. We already have a, what, 10-day training camp? It's not even 2
Yep.
weeks. Like,
Yeah. Like, if
it's
anything, they literally shrink it so that it's like the draft and then training camp starts like 2 days later, but, like,
yeah.
that's literally the only wiggle time you have, and then with the last condensed season we had, which I think would have been in 2022,
Mhm.
the last World Cup, the players even then were like, "This is a lot." Like, we're playing
Yeah.
every other day,
Yep.
traveling, you know, the All-Star break isn't that long, it's literally just like 4 or 5 days when when all is said and done. A lot of the
Mhm.
players who play in the All-Star game don't even get that break because they're going to the All-Star game,
Right.
and then you add in the fact that they're gonna try and condense the season for the World Cup, which fair, like, you want the players to be able to go play in the World Cup, but, like, at the same time, how does that even work with the way that the WNBA has started structuring their teams and their seasons, I mean, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be so, like, I just don't even know how you do that.
Well, I know from the initial reactions that we've heard from Satu Sabali and Brianna Stewart, and Nafisa Collier, for that
True.
matter, the negotiations are not going well for the
No.
next CBA.
No.
So hopefully that doesn't stay on this particular trend and those
True.
big picture issues can be addressed because
Yeah,
for me it's all about protecting the product now that
exactly.
everybody knows how good the product is, because for
Yes.
me this league has never been about one player or one thing. It has always lacked promotion, and now that it's
Yeah.
finally getting its promotion, I just don't want to see it scuttle itself.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean, protect the product, you also have to protect the players, you also,
Yes.
and so, yeah, like you said, the CBA negotiations don't seem to be going well, which is fair because I mean, not to say that I expected this, but, like, I feel like we're at this juncture in, like, not just the WNBA, but, like, all of women's sports where, like, the fans know the value,
Yes.
the players know the value, the coaches, everyone in between, but there's still this like weird business kind of inequality where people are like, "Oh, but the business side of it." And I'm like, "Okay,
Mhm.
but you can't measure, like, it's hard to measure the growth that's happened over the past 2 years in like a business sense almost. Like, you can see it in viewership and whatever,
Mhm.
but like things take a long time to build when it comes to money. Like,
Yes.
and so you can't just like think of that as the only way to build this contract. And so, I could see that kind of disalignment of what, you know, we're in a time where businesses want to save money and
Mhm.
it's hard to do that. And money is tough right now for everyone, but also these players deserve so much more than they currently have. And so it seems like a two, kind of like, butting heads in that sense.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
wish everybody well. I would
Yep.
love to be a fly on the wall,
Yeah.
and I cannot wait for Madam President of the
Hmm.
WNBA, Neko Ogwumike, to be commissioner of the WNBA. I will
Oh,
keep saying
yeah.
that until I'm blue in the face and it actually happens. I really feel
She
that
would be
we
good.
are at a point in this league as we approach year 30
Hmm.
that it is imperative to have a player's voice on that side of the table.
That's fair.
Somebody who's lived it, somebody who's been through it and knows what's truly at stake.
Yeah, that's so fair. And I mean, yeah, she would be fantastic for that.
Right? Oh,
Incredible.
love her.
Oh, man. Well, anyway, let's kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about, I guess, the future. As we've been talking about the CBA, we talk about the
Yes.
future, but let's flip to the AmeriCup tournament because that wrapped up
Oh, are you
yesterday.
asking me to talk about Michaela Blake's? Okay, I can do that.
Yep, we're gonna talk about Michaela Blakes, we're gonna talk about Hannah Hidalgo, we're gonna talk about Silas Swords because
Woo!
I'm gonna
Yes.
talk about Silas Swords. But yeah, let's start with the gold medal game because obviously the Team USA deserves their flowers for
Mhm.
getting the gold medal. I'm
Yep.
not gonna be salty about it. I'm gonna give them their flowers. And just a great tournament from Michaela Blakes, who won the MVP. Hannah
Mhm.
Hidalgo was huge, especially in the semifinal game against Canada. Like
Yep.
she was just tough and defensively, offensively, she led them offensively, but she was also leading their defense. And I mean, they get the gold medal, which is a standard for Team USA. So,
Yep.
what are your thoughts on this young team that they sent over there?
I think the selection of head coach was a chef's kiss.
Mm,
Kara Lawson has worked so hard within the confines of USA basketball,
yeah.
creating from scratch the 3x3 program,
Yep.
then netting gold, and then now being given an opportunity in the 5-on-5 space.
Yep.
She kept referring to the group as the 12. I love my 12. The 12 did it. I just, I think everything was put together beautifully. And even though she hasn't been on the job that long, we're already seeing Sue Bird's influence in
Yes.
the director role, right? Like
Yep.
it's just all coming together beautifully, and
Hmm.
I just love it. I absolutely love it. I'm very jingoistic when it comes to the red, white, and blue on the sports stage.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't have that much to be proud about in any other arena, but when it
An
comes to
American.
basketball, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, yeah, super thrilled for Kara. I used to sit on the women's college basketball desk with her at ESPN. I learned
Yeah.
so much on those Saturdays and Sundays from her, her aspirations to be a coach, what that was going to look like for her. I'll never forget when I was in the makeup chair at ESPN getting ready to work with Kara, and she has a laptop in her hand. She comes screaming into the makeup room and she's like, "Oh my gosh, you got to see this. You have to see this clip. You have to see this." And it was a clip of Brittany Griner dunking in junior high. And she said, "I have to win now because that's what's coming." And I was like,
Ooh.
"Okay,
All
okay." Then she
right.
went out. She made the Olympic team, helped them win gold. Everything went well for her. I just,
Wow.
I'm so thrilled. Just on a personal level, everything she's done for Pat Summit and that
Yeah.
foundation, just Carol Lawson does it the right way. So the fact that she is winning and leading, it warms my heart.
Yeah, so, of course, they get the gold medal. Have to give some flowers to Brazil as well. Their program
Yeah.
is growing in such a wonderful way, of course, with Camila Cardoso and Demira
Mhm.
Stantis leading their team. Both of
Yep.
them got, All-Star 5 nods for the tournament, as well as Hannah Hidalgo and Michaela Blakes got All-Star 5 nods, and Silas Swords was the
Yep.
last of the 5. But yeah, I mean, Brazil's team just did so well. Obviously, they were so dominant in the paint and that front court presence.
Mhm.
Team USA knew exactly what they needed to do, which was stop Camila Cardoso, get her in foul trouble. Like that
Right.
has to be the game plan when you're playing against someone as dominant and as good as her. And they did that. But the whole rest of the tournament, I mean, Brazil was just absolutely running through teams. So
Yeah.
it's fun to see that program build. And I hope that they're able to get the more resources that they need. And I think, when we're talking about teams that aren't named Team USA, the biggest factor is resources and funding. And I think if, these programs like Brazil are able to get a little bit more of that, hopefully they'll be able
Mhm.
to invest a little bit more in their talent and be able to build out the team around Camilla because she'll be
Mhm.
there for, the future. So it was exciting to see. And I'm glad she got to go. Like, I know it's a little bit of a touchy subject about, should WNBA players get to go, but she's in Chicago where they're not exactly going to win a championship.
And it's
She
your
went and won a
country. When
medal.
it's your
Yeah.
country, that's
Yep.
different. That
Yeah.
that's that's not a money grab. That's
Nope.
from the heart. And we all remember how devastated Camila Cardozo was when Brazil couldn't beat Germany to qualify for the
Mm.
Olympics because
Yep.
Camila got in that foul trouble, got that technical, might have cost them the game. Like
Yep.
that means something to her and her family and,
100%.
everybody who speaks Portuguese, like that is a huge deal. So I don't fault her for 1 nanosecond. I think
It
it's great, and it makes her a better player. It
it
helps her
does.
become a better member of the Chicago Sky.
Exactly, and so now we'll see Team Brazil try and make the, World Cup next year,
Right,
so there'll be a qualifying tournament next year. Team USA as the gold medalists already get their berth into the World Cup, so now Team
yeah,
USA is in the World Cup, Germany is in the World Cup as the hosts, and then, Belgium won Eurobasket, and so that
right.
means they get
Mhm.
their ticket to the World Cup. And so next spring there will be the qualifying tournament. So now Canada automatically is in the qualifying tournament. Brazil,
Yay, Nell
Argentina,
Fortner.
yeah,
Woo!
and yeah. So then yeah, let's get to our bronze medal game because I've been
Yes.
waiting to talk about
Oh my
this.
god, I didn't think my heart would take it. Like, when it went to the first overtime, I was like, "Okay, wow, this is unbelievable nail-biting action." I didn't anticipate this because usually in the medal games, the team that is playing for that bronze is clear a clear cut,
Yeah,
they've got the advantage just when you look
yeah.
at it on paper. And I was
But
like, "Okay, this."
Argentina was tough.
I know. I did not expect that. I knew that
Yeah.
they were feisty and had good guard play, the whole thing, but I just did not expect it to be at
And I
that
mean,
level.
and it's hard because Canada did play Argentina in the group stage, and so when you can scout a team so
Yeah,
soon after, that's to be like they're gonna come out and play better, and so
right.
yeah, it definitely
I just
didn't
didn't
shock
expect it to
me,
be
but
that
that
markedly better.
close,
Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so I mean, I gotta have my like Homer Canadian moment here
Yes,
because
look at
Canada
you,
won.
Chelsea.
I know I gotta have my
Uh, uh.
gotta make sure I like big ups my Canadians over here, but they ended up winning the bronze medal, which is so great. And I mean, double overtime, 1 point game. The
Mm,
last play, it just like it was the play was written up by Carly Clark, who has been an assistant coach for Team Canada for so long. She coaches
oh,
the Toronto Metropolitan University women's basketball team and
nice.
has just been like, she's coached in this program for so long, draws up a play. Nell gives like Nell Fortner gives her, it game on the line, right up the play.
Yeah,
And then it's Delaney Gibb to Silas Swords, the two 19-year-olds on the team, the two youngest people on the team.
the babies.
Delaney, yeah, the little ones, and Delaney just passes the most perfect pass to Sila, who gets it in, and they win by 1 point. And it was just
Mm,
like such a great way to start this new era of Canadian women's basketball. Like
yep,
everyone in the program has really felt that this is a big shift for them this year, hiring
mhm,
Nell Fortner, integrating Sila and the younger
yep,
teams or the younger players into the team. Natalie Achonwa, of course, retiring. Like things are
yep,
changing in the program. And so being able to start that with a bronze medal and with the impressive play that they did, I mean, they were giving Team USA a run for their money until the last, I'd say, like 8 minutes in the
yeah,
semifinals. That Brazil game was close as well. And so when you actually, and then this is without any of their WNBA players. That's without Aaliyah Edwards.
mhm,
That's without Bridget Carlton,
yep,
without Kia Nurse, without Leticia Amahir. And so,
mhm,
the core and the young players of this team are so good. And I will say this every single day. Hiring Nell Fortner was the perfect move for
yep,
this team. I mean, I've met her now once at camp a few weeks ago, and she just like was so thrilled to be there. She had such great energy. She had such high
mhm,
hopes for this team and knew what their ceiling is, and the fact that it's hard to tell right now because it could be so high. And she
right,
also just has the exact right experience, I think. She has coached Team USA to a gold medal in
mhm,
2000. She's coached in the WNBA in the at Indiana Fever. She's
mhm,
coached in college, had a long career with Georgia Tech. And
yep.
so when you think about
Recruited
Canada,
and coached DeWanna Bonner
there you go,
at
exactly.
Auburn. Yep.
And so you think about how this Canada team right now has such a mix of veterans who have played professional basketball for years, whether in the WNBA or in Europe. You think about how there's these young college players who are going to have long careers wherever they go. And then you have this stream of teenagers who are coming up who aren't in the program yet, but are going to be integrated in a very young part of their career when they're in college. Savvy Swords, Toby Fournier, like all of them you could list. And so the fact that you have a coach that has experience at every single level is just fantastic. And then you bring in the fact that Carly Clark has been there for a while. Christy Sides was
Mhm.
coaching. I was like,
I
okay, Christy
love that
Sides.
Nell tapped
Yeah.
Christy Sides for this assignment
Yep.
because I hated the way that the Indiana fan base just kept saying and ranting that Christy can't coach. I'm like, "No, that's not true.
No.
She is a really good coach."
Come to Canada, Christy. We got you.
Yes,
And
yes.
so yeah, it's just like I like I just love this program. I just like as a fan, as a like the media covering it, I just like have such like a place in my heart for it. So I'm very happy that they won the bronze medal. Very happy for all of them. Rose gold, as they call it.
Yeah,
That's what they're calling it, rose gold. And just like and I mean, shout out to the veterans as well, like Kayla Alexander, Sammy Hill, like
mhm.
they've been with this program through so many AmeriCups, through so many Olympic trials, through ups and downs, and the fact that they're still playing, I mean, at a high level, they just
Right.
anchor the team as well. So shout out to them. I mean,
Yeah,
I
they've
just
been the glue when the WNBA
yep,
players pass on these opportunities
yeah.
and stay with their W teams, those have been the glue players
Oh
and
yeah.
so fun to watch.
Exactly. And I mean, if you're a WNBA scout and you're not watching Yvonne Edgem, I don't know what you're doing because
Yvonne Jim is one of the best players I've ever seen in person. I had
yep.
the opportunity to call Gonzaga a couple times in college, and
Hmm.
she just dominated. What I had a Christmas tournament here in the
Oh,
Valley, and it was Gonzaga versus Arizona, and at that
yeah.
point, it was a top 20 matchup,
Yeah.
and Gonzaga ran the Wildcats out of the gym, and it was because of Egypt, and
Yeah.
she was whoo! What if
She's
she wasn't
good.
scoring the basketball, she was rebounding it. If she wasn't
Hmm.
doing that, she was swatting the opposition shots
Yeah.
into the 3rd and 5th row. Like, it
Yeah.
was bananas. She was a
So
one-woman
good.
wrecking crew.
Yeah, and so, I mean, I with especially with the increase of roster spots we're getting in the W next season,
Yeah, she'll play.
I would
She'll play.
oh, she'll 100% play. She's going, to
Yep.
Europe to play, this winter, and so, I
Mhm.
mean, thrilled for her. They're just like the thing I always say about this team is that they're such great players, they're such good people as well, and you just want them
Mhm.
to succeed. They're so they just know, like, they know that people are underestimating them, they're the underdogs, they want to prove people wrong, they have such a chip
Mhm.
on their shoulder, and so, I mean, yeah, I just had to give them their roses in the pod just 'cause, they
For
deserve
sure,
it
and
all, and so
let's shout out the foundation, right?
yeah.
The Women's Sports Foundation in Canada has seen the
Mhm.
explosion and the growth. They watched France and what
Yeah.
Team France did to
Yep, true.
really blast on the national scene and just followed suit. Like,
Yep,
let's get our ducks in a row. We have the talent.
it's
We
true.
just need better infrastructure to hone that talent. And,
Yeah,
going back to iron sharpening iron to create the opportunities for the young players to develop coming up in Canada, making sure that everybody keeps track of them when they go to American universities, and then
yep,
keep inviting them back to be a part of the fold. This is what we have going on. You want to be a part of this, and to keep that excitement and build it and do it in lockstep with these Canada games from the WNBA. And
yeah,
now with Toronto Tempo, all of this had some sort of Toronto Tempo or the Vancouver game coming up tie, and I
yeah,
loved it. I was just
yeah.
like, this is how we grow the game. This is it. I absolutely am just on board.
Yeah, I mean, not to again, I don't wanna be too homer, but the way that Toronto and Canada as
No,
a
you
whole
are
has
there.
grown
You get
yeah.
to be Homer. You're on the medal stand.
True. But, yeah, just the way that even in the past 5 years, I've seen this community grow the game in so many different ways, so many grassroots ways. There's so many people
Mhm.
here that just care so much about this community. It's so
Yep.
great to see and it's so genuine. And I mean, you think about people like Sila, who again just helped them win a bronze medal, is probably on a plane right now going to Europe to play in the U19 World Cup because she's going to be
Sure.
playing there. Then they have a tournament every year here called Global Jam in Toronto. U23 team. We have college teams coming from the US
Yep.
to come play Canada. She's going to play in that as well. And so just opportunity after opportunity to make herself the face of the next generation of Canada basketball. And they're doing everything that they can to develop this program, develop their women's basketball and their men's basketball talent, don't get me wrong, but putting so much emphasis on empowering these young women and making sure that they know that the opportunities are there for them. And
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's just really blossomed in the past few years. And I mean, get ready because Canada is coming to, be that second team under the US of like international talent in the WNBA. Like,
Love it.
and
I
yeah,
absolutely
so
love it because
yeah,
that USA needs to be pushed, right?
yeah,
France was
they
the
do.
wake-up call, right?
Yep.
Like, Team USA cannot take anything for granted, and for any team globally to push Team USA, I am here for it 10 toes down.
Yeah, it just makes the game more fun. Like it's
Yes.
not fun when you go to a tournament and Team USA like rolls everyone 100 to 56. Like it's not the hoops I want to see. I get that you all like winning and I appreciate that for you, but at the same
But
time,
we
I
wanna
want good
see
basketball.
Yeah, we wanna see competitive basketball. That's what made that
Exactly.
gold medal game so much fun, right?
That
We
was
had to see
so
Asia
fun.
Wilson put on the cape. We had to see Kalia Copper put on the cape and save the day, and
Yeah.
that was
I mean,
amazing. Like,
low
you
key
can't beat that.
low key I was cheering for France, but it's okay. It's
Of course you were,
you
but that's
know.
okay. Like, it's
Yeah.
French Canadian, right? Like, I get
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
that's a thing.
I was
So,
like, "Gabby Williams, let's go." But,
listen, the thing that's making Seattle so competitive is
Gabby
Gabby has
Williams.
gotten the memo. She is understanding the assignment of what
Yep.
everybody expects and wants from her, and she's doing it with confidence. And
Oh,
when she hunts shots, they're a completely different team because she's
yeah.
just a nightmare to defend on the offensive end. And then she's leading the WNBA in steals, so she's
Mhm.
creating her own offense with live ball
Exactly.
turnovers. It is so fun to see. She is a matchup nightmare, and I love that for Seattle. I love it for NECA. I love it for Skylar. I
Yep.
love it for Alicia Clark. I love it for that entire organization because so many
Yep.
people were like, I don't know about what you guys are doing. I don't know how that's gonna work. No, working beautifully.
And
And
I mean, yeah, now they're in the
oh,
4th spot in the
yes,
standing.
which is home court, and Climate Pledge can make a difference. I have sat in
Heck
those
yeah.
seats, and I know it to be true.
That place looks cool.
It is
It looks like
very
a with the
amazing.
double jumbotrons, I'm like, "That looks
Oh my
sick."
gosh, it is. Yeah, at first you gotta figure out where to look, but once you
Yeah.
get that sorted, it's really cool and it's very different,
Wow. Hmm.
and I love too that Seattle, despite Kathy's intention to give new teams to, affiliated NBA franchises, Seattle is on its own and has
Yeah.
done so admirably and beautifully and proving that it can be done. And
Yeah.
hopefully Seattle will get an NBA team back, but
Yeah.
because I am always bring back the Sonics, having
Yeah.
grown up there. But yeah, Seattle
They're
is the poster child to Kathy Engelbert that you don't have to have an NBA affiliation to be successful. They have
no.
4 championships.
They've been holding it down, like, fan-wise for
Yes,
decades. Like,
yes.
they
I
were
wanna
putting
say
people in
they're
seats.
5th in attendance now. Yeah,
There was a
they're right
while
up
where they were
there.
first.
Yeah. Oh, for a
Oh,
long time,
man. For a
before
long
this
time.
latest surge of attendance and before the
Yeah.
Valkyries, before
Yeah,
Indiana
yeah.
actually started putting people in Cambridge. I'm
Yeah.
old enough to remember the 2012 championship where they had trouble selling tickets, so, good on you,
Yeah.
Indiana, for finally waking up
I
and smelling the
mean
coffee, but good basketball has been played at Cambridge for a very long time. And
yeah, exactly.
if you like watching Gabby Williams, I invite you to go back and find some YouTube videos of Tamika Catchings. When I
Ooh.
watch Gabby, I see Tamika, that
Yeah.
defensive monster presence, and then
Yeah.
the sweet finish on the offensive end.
She's fantastic, and I honestly think that that gold medal game may have changed something in her brain chemistry and
Yes,
just kinda turned something on that maybe she didn't know that needed to be turned on, and she has just been a dog, like
listen,
and I
Gino
mean
Auriemma will tell you, he begged for years. He said, "I
yeah,
saw it, I wanted it." She
yeah,
just thought she was the compliment. She never thought she was the guy. Now
yeah.
she knows she can be the guy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a whole different mindset.
Exactly. So I mean, they're just so fun to watch, and it's gonna be a good playoff good playoff regardless of who makes it, but, like, I
Yeah,
think if Seattle's able to stay healthy and, you know, that's such a huge conversation when it comes to the playoffs. I think that
yeah,
they're gonna be dangerous, and I mean, I
yeah,
love that for her.
I do too, and
Yeah.
Skylar's on a whole 'nother level.
Woo! Yep. I mean, they're sending 3 to the All-Star game, so something's
Yes.
going right.
Yeah, at Skylar, I had a front row seat for her. She took a Phoenix Mercury team to the playoffs that had no
Yep.
business getting there. Like,
Yeah. Oh, I remember
it was
that.
yeah, like, that was
Fantastic
her.
player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so and a
fantastic. I
gold
love her
medalist
shot.
too. Like, yes. Oh, the
The way her
float
sh
game? The float
Oh,
game. Oh, yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful. Excited to see her in person in Vancouver too. That's gonna be fun.
She is amazing, and
Woo!
please pay attention to her fashion. She
Yeah.
looks like she walks off the runway in Paris and into the arena tunnel. The
Yeah.
way clothes hang on that young woman are amazing,
Incredible. I wish I had that sense of style or the ability to pull it.
right? I
Yeah.
don't, but I
No.
envy it and I
Yep.
appreciate it like nobody's
Exactly.
business.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, let's wrap it up for today because we've been all over the map, which is fun. We love a little global basketball talk.
There we go.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, make sure if you like this podcast to subscribe and make sure to listen every single day from Monday to Friday. We got podcasts coming at you. And check us out on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and at herhoopstats.com for newsletters as well as all the stats you could possibly need ever. You can find out, I mean, who's leading the league in 10 to 15 range foot shooting. That's just how intense we get with the stats. But
Yes.
as always, Cindy, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast. It was so great to talk to you.
Oh, right back at you, Chelsea. Thanks so much and go Team Canada.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.